Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Satisfactory. I'm AxionEvolved, and we're getting to a point in this factory where we need to start stepping things up. So I've done a little, we've got through tier 1, we got through tier 2. Tier 3 is where things really start to kick up. In the last one, we unlock coal power, and we set up a little temporary factor, or a power plant. Now, in order to kick things off, really to get the factory building into full gear, we need to start working on steel. And as you can see, I got pretty much everything I need. I'll get a little bit more wire, but steel unlocks quite a few things. Number one, obviously the steel products, the foundry to make the steel products, but what that will allow us to do later on. If we go up here to tier 4, in advanced steel production, you see Mark II miners, you see logistics Mark III, which takes those steel products, but that gets you Mark III belts and lifts, industrial storage containers, huge stuff, pipeline, stackable pipeline supports. These are the things that we need to really get this, start working on the main factory that we're going to make. So let's go take a look and see kind of what I've done in the meantime in preparation and what we still need to do. So one of the first things I did is I made this little kind of overflow thing for some of the items we have. The copper machines, all the copper products, we make those way faster than we use them. So everything is kind of outputting and merging onto one 60 belt. So this is pretty much our iron area. That's our copper area, right? They're all merging onto some 60 lines, which then goes into a 120 line and goes to the awesome sink. We still have quite a bit of stuff in the shop that we need to unlock. So this is just kind of, it's nothing huge, we're not getting tons and tons of points at any one time, but what it is allowing us to do is kind of passively build up coupons so that we can unlock some stuff in the awesome shop later. And speaking of things that we're going to unlock, there's a few things I kind of want to prioritize. Number one, I think I want to do, when we start really building our factory, we're going to want, for sure, wall power poles. We're going to need to unlock all these foundations, especially the ramps. The ramps are going to be huge, both from a design perspective and later on down the road when we start doing trains and all that kind of stuff and running conveyor belts and all that. So I want to almost get this entire section right here, walkways, inverter ramps. I want all of this. But you see that the tickets start to add up, right? So we're going to need to start, we don't have a factory cart, which is practically heresy. Railings, just there's so many things I want to get to. Nothing, maybe the coffee cup. We don't really need any of this kind of stuff for tickets. That's just a waste. And all these parts are a waste of tickets too. But some of the walls, I'm going to want the conveyor walls. So we just need a ton of tickets. So one thing that I'm considering doing is making, I can't really set this to go faster. I don't have any faster belts than 120 lines. So this is kind of what we're stuck with. But one thing I could potentially do is throw some higher tier things into that hopper to like feed in also and accumulate tickets faster. But I'm still kind of up in the air on that. It might just be a time thing. We'll just kind of wait for it. Another thing is I've completely disconnected all the biomass, right? So this is, it's still here because if we ever need kind of like a quick jolt of power, this is like what, 270 megawatts or whatever. So it's a nice little buffer, emergency buffer, if we need something to maybe help get the power flowing again. But for now, it's completely disconnected. I've even got rid of the processing area for all the biomass. We still have quite a bit of solid biofuel in here. So it's it's just something that we're not really worried about right now. But then I also realized we're going to need a ton of concrete if we're going to be making any kind of factory, right? So I built this little storage area. It's pretty simple. These are all opposites, right? So if I were to, I don't know if you can see it, right? So this is an output, that's an input, and they all alternate so that on the back, I can just have a series of conveyor lifts that feed it back and forth. And so it fills up this last one first, and then this one, and then this one, and this one, so on and so forth. You can see it looks like this one's filled up. So we're in the middle of filling up this one right here. And to feed all of this, we just got I think this is a normal Yeah, it's a normal that I power sharded to output at 120, so, because that's the fastest belt we have. So it's taken the 120 and it's just really being split with the overflow method in between 3 constructors. So this is not efficient. It doesn't use all the parts normally. I don't have any of these underclocked or anything. So this one pretty much just overfills into this one. This one runs, I mean, it barely runs, just below 100%. This one down here just gets the trickles. And I mean, I guess it works fast enough, but obviously they're not all running at 100 because I think this can take like 135. This would be like 135 limestone per minute, and we're only giving it 120. So this kind of underscores the need to advance in the tech tree and in the the milestones, because then we get the infrastructure that allows us to do things faster, because 120 lines just they're not even fast enough, right? But in order to really get this thing growing, we need to get our power situated. So let's go take a look at that. So another thing I do when I'm running around, if I ever see these kind of things, these little like outcroppings or little resource nodes that have some kind of resource that I'm not mining, I just pick them up, because you can use them to kind of jump ahead in some of your research at the MAM. Alright, so part of the problem with our coal factory right now, our coal power plant, I guess, is that it's running on 2 impure coal nodes, right? So these are, on a Mark 1 miner, are only giving out 30 per minute, which is ridiculous. So what I think I need to do, I think I'm going to power shard them. In fact, let's just do that right now. If I power shard them all the way, that still only gets us 75 coal per minute, which together, right, that's 75 and 75, that'll be 150 coal per minute. So just over one belt, a single 120 belt. So what I think I'm going to need to do, in order to make sure that I'm getting as much possible out of this, I think what I need to do is I'm going to have both of these running on 120 belts, and then I'll kind of do like a reverse sort of, maybe not reverse. So the way the coal plant runs right now, it's the overflow method, right? So the coal flows down, the first part comes out, then the next part, then the next part, so on and so forth. But I think because we're operating at a capacity that's higher than the highest belt we have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the first 75 line come in in this direction. Then what I'll do is I'll have the second line kind of come back around. Let me think. I could have it come and fill in from this back side, and then have them kind of both work towards whatever I determine the middle to be. Because I don't know, I don't know if it tells me how much coal it takes per minute. Okay, so if it takes 4 per second, that's what, 15? That's 15 per minute, maybe? 1 fuel unit in seconds, right? Okay, so these take only 15 per minute. So with 150, I should be able to get 1075. So that's 750 megawatts, which is pretty much double what we're at now. So the first thing that we need to do, right? So this is going to require more water, and it's going to require splitting or upgrading those belts and then splitting them. So rather than having them merge right here, like I am, I'll just get rid of this merger and have this one. Maybe I'll have this one kind of run back behind and loop around and feed in. So I'm going to get that kind of situated, and then I'll meet you guys on the other side. All right, so now we've got the coal not hooked up, but ran. We need to hook it up to the rest of the line. So let me kind of give you the brief tour about what's going on here. So line 1 is going to come down here, connect to here, and split off to these first 4 coal power plants. Then it's going to run into a merger that I have right here. Then line 2 is going to run back behind. It's going to come down this lift, run back behind everything, and then meet up with the series of splitters here. So this one will actually split to all 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then feed whatever's left, if there's any, into the same merger. So because I have an even number, there isn't like a true middle, so I have to kind of do this. Now, if all of these take 15 per minute, I don't think we'll have any issues as far as like having any run over, but in case we do, this one will be designated to kind of take all that on. So I'm running these all up again because I'm going to run the water pipes through the inside here and then have them just kind of branch off. I'm going to run it kind of, I'm kind of going to do the same thing, right? I'm going to have basically a pipe that gets pretty close to the inside here and runs all the way down, splitting. So splitting off the water as we need it. But every so often, I'm going to have a second pipe kind of merge into that pipe to kind of supplement the flow, because we can get, 300 water per minute in one pipe. And these each take, I think, 50 per minute. We only need 500. So by kind of merging the pipes somewhere close to the middle and kind of getting the pressure back up all the way down, we should have enough water for all of them, for every factory. So I think we're going to put the water extractors over here this time. I kind of like, well, I mean, I guess we can kind of make it straight on, huh? So if it's going to be kind of in the middle of this foundation, right, we can just do something kind of like right there or so. And then we'll just put another one literally right next to it. And from there, we can easily kind of pick the direction that things go. So, you know, we can kind of put like we can use these supports to kind of lay everything out, right? So like, I guess one pipe maybe right there. And then the other pipe will just run slightly offset of it, right? So then if we do a pipeline and we just go literally from there, and then that'll be the first water pipe. And then this one will just kind of do the same thing. We'll have this one come up, I guess, or run that way. And we want it to hook up right in the middle of that foundation, right? So let's line her up. And we'll kind of do something like that, right? So that should be all the water we need. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and then I'll bring you guys back once I've got it all complete. Okay, so now we've got this main pipe that runs all the way down, and it's connected to every single coal power plant, right? But like I said before, that's only going to give me, one pipe can only hold 300, I guess, flow per minute or whatever. The max flow rate is 300 meters cubed, right? So the way I'm hoping this works, I'm hoping it works kind of like just like, I guess, how water would flow, right? So in the very beginning, it's going to take off all the water it needs, all 50 meters cubed, right? So like 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300 right here. So if I only had 6 of these, one pipe should be fine, but I have 10. So in order to make sure that these 4 also have the proper flow, what I did is I threw this extra little junction in right here. And what I want, essentially the way I hope this works, is I'm just going to run this pipe down, right? Kind of as, if it'll connect even better, of course not. Let's do it like somewhere there, just so it's not like right next to each other. So what I'm hoping is that this water, now I don't know if water flows in either direction or if it works in one direction like conveyors do, because if it works in both directions, then when it gets into here, it'll try to flow out both ways. So I think either way, there's going to be more than enough water pressure to give water to all of these. Now, one thing I didn't take into account is when I shut these down, I don't know if they all have, oh, I guess they do have some coal in them, perfect. And they even have a little bit of water left. All right, so now all I need to do is get these hooked back up to power lines and then hook it back up to the rest of my power grid. So you see how the coal is kind of branching off. And I mean, this isn't news to anybody. You know, this is basic overflow method. If you played any kind of factory game before, you'll recognize this. But I'm interested to see how if there's even going to be enough to get over here from that side. There probably will, just because of the nature of how splitters work. Eventually, if this one gets too full, for example, if these first 5 end up having too much coal, then it'll back up and kind of refill that one back up, right? Because the way the overflow method works is usually it fills from the front and then it cascades down to the last machine. But then if the last machine is full, then it backs everything back up, and then you'll start to get a backlog, I guess. Whereas over here, this one technically has more machines than it should have coal available. So this one backing up would then allow this one to back up, or at least that's what I think. Honestly, I might not even need this belt right here. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that belt and just kind of see how it all works out. Okay, so now all we have going is the 2 water extractors and the 2 miners are the only things on the grid. All I did is I put a little extra jog in the power line here. So now all I need to do is connect that to that pole, and we'll be back in business with the full factory back on the power grid. And then it looks like we're running. I really want to see how the water distributes, though. Once we see these pumps starting to, these little valves right here starting to open up, then we'll know that the water is making its way out here. I figure these will start to open up more as, you know, it's kind of like a cumulative effect. It'll slowly rise as the rest of the pipe fills up. But we should see, yeah, I mean, everything's kicking on, so we must be getting decent water down here. 5 a minute. How's it looking? I mean, it doesn't have any water right now. And again, I think these pipes operate in the overflow method type of way because, you know, that's just kind of how they do. These give off 300, right? How many do these give off? Oh, this only gives off 120 per minute. No wonder. We need more of these. All right, well, let's do that real quick. All right, so I'm attaching these in a kind of different way. I'm attaching these all to junctions because I don't know what my plan is for moving these out in the future, right? And I think I'm going to have to move that power pole. Yeah, no big deal. So this allows me to kind of take out and put back in kind of whenever I might need to, you know? How's that look? All right. You know, we want the pipes to be as nice and straight as possible, right? Okay, so you'll go, I guess, right here. You'll attach to that one. And I'll put one right here. I want to make sure all these have their own little power source, you know. We're kind of making like our own little dock over here, too. A little water dock. And I don't know if the power lines are as well placed as they could be. But anyway. Okay, so this now gives us 480. So we could do slight overclockings, right? We need to get 5 more water in each one. And we got the shards, so I want 125 per minute. So we'll just do that. We're wasting a power shard for a 4%. You know what? Maybe I'll just kind of do that. Just to, well, let me see. 120 and 180 is 300, right? Okay, perfect. So that's 300. That's 240. So that's more than enough water. So now we should be having plenty of water. Let's take a look. It might still need some time to get into the system. You know, if we look at this, it looks like the flow rate's still kind of low, although it does take 9 meters cubed. So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it seems like we have enough water, you know. I don't know if this is going to say 180, right? Because this is given 180 meters cubed. What is the issue? Is it not sending out the water? Oh, there it goes. Does it just do it every so often? Does it need the pipe to kind of... I wonder why that is so... Why is this 10.4 and this is 22.2? That's interesting. Do these like restrict it somehow? Oh, it must be the length of the pipe. The pipe, yeah. Okay. So like that's 10.4. This is probably huge. 25. Yeah. Okay. So the length of the pipe has to do with how much water is in the pipe. But all in all, I think we're doing okay. I think we've got a good flow rate all the way down here. Good enough. What does this water look like? Yeah, so we're full water down here. So I think we're at, yeah, we got all 750 megawatts. So let's hook everything back up and we should be good to go. Yeah, so now we see everything turn on. It looks like we're at about, I don't know, 360 peak power, 362 or so. So not too bad. We have plenty of overhead to kind of expand a little bit. This is not going to be the answer. You know, eventually we're going to get into like turbo fuel and have power plants, and we're going to have nuclear capabilities. So this is almost, you know, I don't know how long this is going to last. This is running off some impure nodes. Maybe we'll run some Mark II miners and, you know, just use this to get us to fuel, but I just don't know. I don't have a plan for that because we need to find, you know, we've got some pure nodes way over there of coal, and we're going to need to start making a steel factory somewhere. So speaking of which, let's get back and at least research the steel. All right, and now that we've done all the groundwork for it, let's go ahead and unlock steel. Yes. Oh man, it looks so cool. I wish we had these little rockets just like in real life. But with that, we have steel, which means now we're at kind of a significant part of the game. So we need to seriously start considering. Let's go get a better look at the surroundings. So this is our factory now, but like I said before, this is a very temporary factory. This is very basic. Just get the basics, right? So, I mean, we've got all the, like the tier 1, I'd say, materials sort of automated. I mean, these ones are a little slower, but, you know, they trickle in. You see, it's going fairly fast. But we have so many resource nodes out here that we can tap into that I think we need to start finding a location for kind of a main base. And you know, just based on what I've kind of seen run around, this middle area might make a good candidate. Something maybe in the little tiered outcropping out there might be okay. I don't know if I want to go over that way too much, but I don't know. I think it'd be kind of nice to have a cool like view of the waterfall from our base. You know, and I want to make it so that, you know, all of these nodes, right? I want to make like a central kind of intake with all this stuff that can come in and get processed, you know, have a big smelting floor. And you know, I don't know, I don't have a final design yet, but I'm thinking maybe, I mean, it'll evolve obviously as we build it and as necessity drives invention, right? So I'm thinking just at a glance, you know, we're in the desert. It'd be kind of cool to have not like a traditional pyramid, but some kind of pyramid aspects. Not 100% sure. I'm going to play around and kind of think about it and kind of figure out even like where we need to go, because we got a lot of stuff we need to do. We need to get our steel production wrapped up, which, speaking of which, where do I have, what other coal do I have? So I know we're going to see some pings out there for some pure, and we're going to see the pings from our factory, but where else? Oh, we got some coal nodes right there. Yeah, those are the ones that we're already mining. But these ones right over here, those might be something we tap into for steel. Because we're going to need steel and iron, or coal and iron to make steel. So that'll be the next goal. Another goal, I'm going to let this run for a while and really build up the tickets. In fact, let's go see what we're at now. I mean, not bad. We got 11 coupons in this PlayStation session, and we're doing like not very many points per minute. 320-ish. So not too bad. I'll definitely let this run and build up some tickets so that we can get that nice cosmetic base building stuff and get that all running. So with that, guys, I think I'm going to call this an episode. If you liked what you saw, consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button. If you think this is decent, thumbs up. Really lets me, gives me good feedback. Helps the videos get seen more. So appreciate it, guys. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.